Planning to fly to your summer vacation destination? An on-your-site consumer investigation reveals in the difficult economy where every penny counts, Cleveland Hopkins Airport doesn't always offer the best value for your travel dollar. Consumer investigator Jenn Strathman explains why you need to check alternative airports. Jen?
Well, Danita, like everything else, the price of an airfare is up. So we look for ways to bring down the cost of your next family vacation.
As airfares reach new heights, travelers are looking for savings in places they've never been.
Somebody told me about it, that I could come out here cheaper, and that's what ended up happening.
Sean Sanford and his 3 children are headed to Florida, and Elsie Krall is headed to Vermont. They don't know each other, but they both know a money-saving travel secret.
It's a huge savings.
Elsie saved $300. Sean's family is saving $600 by driving across the state line into Pennsylvania.
I just drove here this morning from Lorain, Ohio.
Lorain is less than 20 miles from Cleveland Hopkins Airport, but Elsie took her money 120 miles away to Pittsburgh's airport.
If they can't give us what we want or give it cheaper, then we've got to go someplace else.
A 5 on Your Side investigation found if you're willing to drive someplace other than Hopkins, your savings can add up. We put Cleveland in a head-to-head matchup with Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Akron-Canton airports. We looked at flights in June, July, and August to 11 different cities, places like Boston and Bozeman, Montana. In the matchup with Pittsburgh, Cleveland offered a cheaper fare only 3 times. Pittsburgh's flights were cheaper 30 times. The average savings to Boston, $216. New York LaGuardia, $157. And Las Vegas, $124. The trip to Vegas in August may be cheaper out of Pittsburgh, but it connects in Cleveland.
It's crazy.
Elsie isn't going to Vegas, but a connection in Cleveland saved her money too. To save $300, Elsie drove from Lorain to Pittsburgh, then flew to Cleveland, and then to Vermont.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Even with tolls, gas, and time, Elsie says it still made financial sense to drive to Pittsburgh. And it likely made sense for all these drivers too. On average, 1 in 6 cars in the Pittsburgh parking lot have Ohio plates, making it easy to find signs of Northeast Ohio.
Right now what we're seeing is a very large increase in the number of Ohio parkers.
Pittsburgh began marketing to Northeast Ohio travelers in March. Since then, the airport's seen twice as many drivers from the Buckeye State. It comes at a time when every passenger counts at Cleveland's hub airport.
In the current economy, we want the new United to know that there's enough demand in Cleveland to support and effectively, profitably run a hub here.
So is the city worried that we found savings in Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Akron?
It's not an apples-to-apples approach.
But the approach we took is the one most consumers take, comparing prices online.
You'll find that our airfares as a hub airport are extremely competitive.
Even in our analysis of 2 hubs, a more apples-to-apples approach, Cleveland still offered fewer lower fares than Detroit. In a matchup between Cleveland and Detroit this summer, Cleveland offered the lower fare 11 times, and Detroit 21 times.
What we would ask the public to look at is not just the bottom line price or the average fare.
The city feels the entire airport makes a difference. Cleveland pointed out that it offers more nonstops, more flights, and more destinations than Pittsburgh and Akron. And for Cleveland traveler Earl Martin, that's important.
It really is a matter of convenience and time.
Cleveland Hopkins hopes loyalty plays a part too.
Be somewhat open to paying even a little bit more to support the hub.
For some, that's easy.
How about Pittsburgh? Have you ever thought about Pittsburgh?
No, we're Browns fans.
But for some Ohio sports fans, price matters most.
Bottom line, it's always money. It's always money.
The savings also added up in Akron. The fares there were cheaper 26 times compared with just 7 times here in Cleveland.
Well, Jen, in your report, I just have to ask you, how big of a role does Hopkins play in the price of airfares there?
Well, they don't directly control it, but here's the unique thing. With these hub negotiations, they can bring up the price issue. Also, the airport is focused on non-airline revenue, things like the air mall and the hotel. If they can get that revenue up, it'll bring down the cost of doing business for the airlines, which could mean lower fares for you.
All right, the lower the better. Thank you very much, Jen.